Tim, you want to go ahead and hit record? We'll get cracking.
Crack-a-lackin'.
Thank you, Steph. Good. All right, welcome everyone. We're going to get started. City Council work session, Monday, April 27th, 2026, 4:30 p.m. here in the Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers, City Hall, 400 Washington Street in Burlington, Iowa. First up tonight, oh, there she is. She snuck in. Annette Crowner with the Treasurer's Report. Yeah, you snuck in. I didn't say you. You snuck in. However you got here, welcome.
All right, in the packet is the March Treasurer's Report. I'm going to tell you like I normally tell you. I don't see anything unusual, and there's still some timing things like Saunderson Height Pilot Program. We're still waiting on payments, and that's just the hoops you got to jump through to get the money. So if you guys have any questions,
Council, questions? Mr. Byrd, anything to add?
Nope. I did highlight the Saunderson Heights thing. I was gonna ask. you
Yeah,
about that,
well,
so-
I noticed that as well, but when do we think we might get payment on that?
we have actually submitted for 2 payments.
Okay.
So they come back and ask questions, and regional planning helps us with that.
Okay.
So then they have to answer questions back, and
So
lot of
they,
back and
they are,
forth and-
they are answering questions and we're,
Yes.
okay.
yes.
So that's just bureaucracy then?
Correct. It's
Okay.
just part of the grant process of getting the funds. So,
That works.
all right, thank you.
Thank
So,
you. Oh, sorry,
may I-
Kay had a question.
Annette, may I ask, where it says ideal percent, that's not really ideal, that's expected, sort of, right? Because the year is 3/4 gone.
Correct. That is where, yes. So if we're under or over that,
Yes, but it's not really ideal, it's what we
It's-
would expect.
correct,
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Anyone? No? Okay.
thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on, board and commissioner reports. Tim, do you have anything tonight?
No.
Annie?
Met with the renewable energy, and we didn't have a quorum, so we couldn't make any
Okay.
sort of decisions, but we talked a little bit about future things, getting involved in more visibility type studios.
Talk about this.
The Capitol Theater. Here, let's see.
Oh, right, well, we didn't talk about that.
They didn't talk about that, so we'll
We
let you
did
talk
not talk
about
about
it.
that.
Anything else?
No, nothing else,
Okay.
that's it.
I had one, but unfortunately, I missed it due to being at work. I tried to call in. By the time I did, they were already done, and that was Southeast Iowa Riverboat Gambling. There's a few things we're working on there. More on that later. Kay, did you have any?
Well, I'll just bring up, I know that Brittany might too, but Doug Talamy, who is into prairie restoration and saving bugs and wildlife and is known as sort of a modern Aldo Leopold, is going to be here in Burlington Friday and talking about prairie restoration. And he's started a group called Homegrown National Park to encourage people to plant native plants rather than always buying something.
What they think
That's-
looks pretty, yeah.
Right. So I would encourage folks to do that.
Yeah.
And the convention and tourism group will be meeting soon.
Okay. Moving on to appointments. These following appointments need to be reviewed, and then we'll vote on them next week. Renewable Energy Sustainability Advisory Commission, they had to throw that word in there. Kenny Olson resigned effective 9/9/2025, leaving a vacancy on the commission. Michael Standard has expressed an interest in serving on this commission, is requested the council review his attached application and consider appointing Michael to a new 3-year term, which would expire 5/4/2029. And also Dylan Dewald resigned effectively 12/15/2025, leaving a vacancy on this commission. Bruce Clarice has expressed an interest in serving on this commission. It is requested the council review his attached application and consider appointing Bruce to a new 3-year term, which would expire also 5/4/2029. So council review those, and we will talk about them next week. Yes, ma'am.
May I say that Bruce was part of the Citizens Academy, and so I think that's how he got interested.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Moving on for the proposed regular agenda for May 4th, 2026. First will be a proclamation for Foster Care Awareness Month, and that will be received by Liz Istelo. Liz, I will get with you and get the right pronunciation on that before the meeting. Number 2 will be a consideration of an application for a roofing replacement housing program from the Iowa Economic Development Authority Community Development Block Grant Program, which I'm pretty excited about. Is that you, Mr. Tisdale?
Yeah,
Okay.
this was brought forward from Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission with Sarah Hecox, who I should be here next Monday to go over it as well. There is a roofing replacement program. Applications are due May 22nd. They fund up to $30,000 for each home for roof replacement, including shingles, underlayment, soffit, fascia, chimney removal, and gutters. And then there is a grant administration covered by the grant as well, up in an amount of $18,000. There is no local match for the project. It is citywide, and it is a 5-year forgivable loan for the individuals that receive the funding. Regional Planning Commission does maintain a list. They operate quite a few different programs, including the owner-occupied rehab program and their Great River Housing Trust Fund. They currently have 7 individuals on a list needing a roof. Not that those will be the ones to get it, but they do maintain a list based on calls. So there is certainly a need in our community, and I guess if this is approved, if there are others interested, they should reach out to them as well.
Okay, outstanding. Council, you have any questions for Eric on that? Moving on, the third will be a public hearing, which will be consideration of a solar power generation easement agreement with Red Lion Burlington Solar LLC for city-owned property, Recplex, and the Animal Shelter Solar Project. Mr. Byrd.
Mayor and council, this is a required public hearing for a lease or an easement agreement more than 3 years in length. Now that the solar power purchase agreement has been approved, this lease for land or an easement will provide for the solar provider to build infrastructure on city property. And that's what this easement agreement lease provides for the duration of that power purchase agreement. It does require a public hearing, but otherwise it's just authorizing the infrastructure to be placed on public property.
Okay. Council, any questions?
I have a couple of things, Mayor.
Okay.
The service power and, or the solar power and service agreement was attached to this originally, and it disappeared. And I know why. It
Yeah.
got put in there by mistake, I'm sure. But I didn't notice that in time to change my notes with questions that I was going to ask, so I want to ask him anyway,
Yeah. On the solar agreement or on the easement agreement?
on the solar agreement.
Okay.
Okay,
No, remember, that was approved last week.
right.
Right, okay.
Right. It was approved without having all this information in the packet.
No, that was in the packet.
It was in the packet.
That was in the packet last week. And
You gave
it,
it to us, you handed it to us.
yeah, but it was in the packet. And it got carried over to this week, and I asked the deputy clerk to take it out because it's not germane to the easement agreement,
Okay.
since it had already been approved. But regardless, if you have questions, we
Okay.
can certainly talk about it.
Under the solar service payment, I
And-
thought we had,
And what page is that? I'm sorry.
that's on page 8. I thought we had like 40 days to be concerned about paying for that. This is saying to be paid 10 days after the 5th of the month. I just wanted clarification.
And that's on page 8. What section is that?
Article 7, under payments, section 703.
Oh, method of payment?
It's not a major deal, but I just.
I don't know that we changed anything in that section, so I guess.
I thought it was changed that they, because of the way that it was worded, it was changed to 40 days after to give time for the council to approve the claims list.
Well, I'll clarify that payment schedule. Is that section 704?
703,
703. Oh, payment, there it is, okay. Well, I'll clarify that.
okay. It's not.
You want to
major
just
issue,
send that
but
out?
just-
Yeah, I'll just clarify it. I'll bring it to the next meeting.
The other thing is, it says, under Exhibit D, acknowledgement of collateral assignment, we're making, until further notice, the buyer agrees to make all payments due the provider to the lender. So we'll be paying Two Rivers Bank and Trust.
If he were to finance the system or assign it, he may or may not do that. Does that make sense?
Well, not really. It sounds like sounds like it almost puts us on the hook for the payments. I'm sure we're gonna pay it either way.
What,
But if something happens and they should go defunct, I just wanna make sure that we're not on the hook for their loan.
we are on the hook for the cost of the solar, to buy the solar, right? And if he were to assign or secure financing, it's possible that those solar payments could be made to the financier instead of the provider. That would be the extent of it, though,
So it would just transfer?
right?
Okay, I'll talk to you more about that.
Okay,
I still have some concerns there.
all right.
That was it.
Kay, did you have a comment? I thought you leaned toward the microphone. No? Okay. Are we good to move on? Good. Number 4 is a resolution approving an amended 28E agreement between the City of Burlington and the Burlington Area Convention and Visitors Bureau for hotel and motel revenue sharing. Mr. Byrd, is that you?
It is, sorry,
That's all right.
gathering some notes here.
We're all good.
So this is the standard one-year agreement with CVB, Convention and Visitors Bureau, excuse me, for sharing of the hotel motel dollars. And there are no changes in this agreement from fiscal '26. And this agreement would be fiscal '27. As is customary over the last couple of years, we've gone with just one-year agreements instead of multi-year agreements. So this one carries that tradition. The allocation is 30% of the first $700,000 and 40% of all revenues above $700,000 to the CVB. And I did put a kind of a historical breakdown in your packet as well, so you can kind of see, just looking at this chart, moving from left to right, you can see the city's actual revenue over fiscal year. You can see the city budgeted amount, the agreement value. So if all metrics hold in the agreement, that would be the value that we would agree to pay, all things being equal. But then you see the actual for the over $700,000 element and the CVB budget. So any questions on that information or the agreements itself? The CVB has already submitted a signed copy, so I would recommend council approve.
Questions, council? If you don't have any tonight, make sure to email Mr. Byrd and we'll discuss those. Moving on, number 5, resolution rescinding the sale of property locally known as 510 South 6th Street, City of Burlington, Iowa. Mr. Tisler.
This is a property that council previously granted a 6-month extension to for completion of work at 510 South 6th for Monica Waddell. So that extension timeframe is expiring here. Staff has done a couple inspections and has an inspection planned for next Monday. They have made quite a bit of progress, so if it's at a point where it meets our requirements and we're ready to give deed, this resolution either would fail for a lack of a second or just not move forward, or how that would work. But we'll have an inspection Monday and be able to update council at the council meeting, kind of where they're at in the steps, and if they are close, kind of what the expected timeframe for completion is.
And Eric, you and I discussed this before, council, this was a lady and her son that came in and we
Yeah.
gave them the extra
Yep.
time. And,
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's her and her son, Chris Tapscott was her son, so.
Thank you.
Yep. So, yeah, I would anticipate they've made a lot of progress. They'd either be done or very close, so it'd be up to council whether to extend further or revoke it at that point.
Okay. Yeah, I'll mention it to him. Okay. Okay, so that would take care of the regular agenda. Then on the proposed consent agenda for May 4th, 2026. Jeez, it's May already. When you look at it, isn't it staggering? It's already May. First up is a resolution approving nuisance abatements for various properties. There's a list, it'll start growing again, we know, so keep an eye on that. And if you have questions, always reach out to Eric and he will get you some info. And then we're setting the date on some public hearings. First one will be consideration of fiscal year 2026, 2025 through 2026 rather, budget amendment number 1. We want to discuss that now or it'll wait? Okay, thanks, Stephanie. And number 2 will be a consideration of sale of property locally known as 417 South Garfield Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions. So we'll hear about that. And I assume our guests are here tonight. Lastly will be consideration of plans and specs for the 2026 Burlington Fire Station number 3, right, Chief? Yep. We got a little preview tonight. Is that what's going on?
Well, not too much.
Okay.
Pretty brief tonight, but
Okay.
we have invited TJ, Duncan, and Tad Morrow. They're the project team leads for Canco. They've been awesome to work with, and definitely in allowing and giving us their availability for meetings like this. So if you have any questions, I by all means point you in their direction to some of their plans and specs, expert type of answers. But just as a quick recap, last week, Klingner, they submitted 95% plan set to Canco. Canco's further got that over to the city of Burlington, so the fire marshal's office. Eric's team, they've been working, I know the fire marshal has all day, on just reviewing, dotting every I, crossing the Ts, making sure everything is looking good and would get approved through ordinance and code and those things like that. So they're working pretty hard on that, getting that for Thursday by noon over to Katie. Did a digital walkthrough with Klingner today, which was pretty fun. Went over to their office and just, we haven't done that yet, but went over all kinds of samples, interior, exterior, interior of the station, exterior of the station, just all kinds of little, again, nuances, what the look and the feel of the station will be. Went great. Don't have anything else to provide other than still very pleased. And again, after that meeting, we look to get the visual displays and other types of information out in social media, in the city website and our department website by the end of this week. That's really all I have. But again, TJ and Tad are here tonight. They've made their time available to us. If you have any questions, and if you do, I welcome that, and I think they welcome that as well. So.
Yeah, does anybody have a question? Without seeing the specs or anything, it's, beyond what we've seen. I don't know if I really have anything. I will say I'm excited, very excited to do so. But
Great.
Council, you have any thoughts? Words of encouragement, go, go, go,
Yes.
anything like
Go,
that?
go.
Basically,
Sure do.
yeah.
Probably wouldn't hurt your feelings. Don't have anything to say. I won't invite you to the podium.
No,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks for coming, though, John.
Yes, thank you for being available.
Okay. So one pager. It looks like we've reached the end of our work session. So we'll go around and go to department heads and give last thoughts, and then we'll ask council if they have anything. Mr. Tislin, anything else for development?
Just a reminder, summer camp registration's open for Perkins Summer Camp. Go to our parks website or Facebook page for information on that. And we will have posting this week for 2201 Madison Avenue. conditions of sale. It will be a little different than previous ones. It will require a structural engineer to provide design for repairs for the home within a period of time. And we'll have a little bit extended rehab timeframe, just because we know you're gonna have to get a structural engineer in and do some work. And also, we usually require the letter from a bank or financial institution to verify they have a minimum of $10,000. This will be $100,000, based on the scope of work that's required for it. Individuals that are interested in looking at it should contact our building inspection department. We're asking serious inquiries only. It's not a show and tell for the home.
Yeah.
We will have some pictures posted, but we want individuals, because there are concerns in the home that we don't want just everyone walking through the home. But we'll post some pictures of conditions, like our normal flyer, and get that out posted this week. But it does take a lot of work for this home. It's not the typical rehab project, but it still does require new electrical, plumbing, venting, some structural repairs added onto that as well, so.
Okay, great.
Eric, is this house eligible for the National Register? Is it old enough?
It would be old enough. I guess we've been told it was a Sears catalog, I think Bryant home,
Is that really?
at least following that model. So I think it's one of the only ones that has been found of this type. So I would imagine it would qualify, which, if that's the case, would probably need to come back to council to extend the time frame just for listing on the register if they want to use some tax credits, historic tax credits, so.
Well, no one can say we're not trying,
Yep.
so that's good. Okay, Mrs. Crowner, you got anything else for the finance department, or okay. Mr. Gregory, got anything else for Waterworks?
Not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Myatt, anything from wastewater? No. Miss Jacobs, breaking the string. From the library, always welcome.
We had a fabulous genealogy workshop over the weekend, and it was so exciting to have so many people from out of town come in and compliment the library, particularly people who come from the world of libraries. We had a lot of praises sung of the Burlington Library from Sue Kaufman, who is our keynote speaker and has been a librarian in a few different states throughout the country. So thanks to everyone who helped make that event so successful. This week, we are super excited to host Dr. Doug Tallamy on Friday night at 6 p.m. at the Capitol Theater. He is the creator of Homegrown National Park, as Kay mentioned, a modern-day Aldo Leopold in this event. Thanks to funding from the Murray Foundation and the Des Moines County Master Gardeners, it is free to attend for everyone, but we do encourage you to get there a touch early because it is first come, first served seating. So 6 p.m. at the Capitol Theater. And a big thanks to the Leopold Landscape Alliance for housing Dr. Tallamy in the Leopold Starker House as well. Last thing is, our website is different from the city's website because we don't share IT. And we are starting our compliance work to become ADA compliant. Government entities have until April of 2027. Some government entities had an extension to 2028, but we're aiming for April 2027 deadline of being fully ADA compliant with our website. So starting today, you'll start to see some new and different elements on there, and I do ask for your grace as we work through these. These are difficult and nuanced things. So the first change that went into effect today was we changed any green, bright green or blue font. So the top right or the top left, the Burlington Public Library used to be green, and the banner button where it says library catalog, that used to be orange. I'm still trying to learn myself what is involved with.
Is that because of color blindness, I wonder?
It has something to do with that, but one of the other components is all hyperlinks are now white, which seems a little counterintuitive to me. We're going to try and adjust this and still maintain compliance, but for example, the library catalog on the top right is a hyperlink to the OPAC, but you don't know that it's a link until you hover over it. So as I mentioned, we're going to be adjusting things over the next 10 months. All visual depictions will also have a textual description. So there's a lot that goes into the back end of this website update, but things have started shifting. So if you have any questions about the website, or if you notice something isn't working, or you have difficulty viewing something, please don't hesitate to funnel people my way so that I can help on the back end, make sure we're all up to speed. That's it.
Good to know. Thank you.
Sounds good, thank you. Stephanie, anything from your department? No? Chief Schaefer, anything from PD tonight?
Yes, we have begun the process of planning National Night Out. Yes. It'll be August 4th, 6 to 8 p.m. on the riverfront.
Microphone.
We have begun the process of planning for National Night Out, which will be August 4th, 6 to 8. It's a Tuesday. It's going to be bigger and better than last year. So if you have volunteers or anybody from a civic group that would like to participate this year, tell them to get a hold of the Burlington Police Department so we can get it going. And also, we had put it on our social media page about receiving $22,000 from a grant from the Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau to be used for overtime for traffic enforcement and also to purchase some equipment. We also have recently applied for another grant to cover some costs for some new and updated body-worn cameras, and I'll give you the status once we learn of that, so.
Okay, outstanding, thanks, Chief. Chief Toops, anything from PFD?
Nothing more.
All right. I didn't call
Yeah,
on you.
why is he?
No, Nick McGregor. Mr. McGregor of Public Works and Deputy City Manager.
Got a homework.
Yeah,
got
that looks
a
like a
big
lot of work.
Tower
presentation.
We thought we were getting out of here. Ooh.
Thank you.
Thank you for the printout.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
Oh, so this is the info from the public input.
So the survey that we had available on the website concluded last Thursday. We met Friday to kind of review some of the information. This is a brief summary of the items that we were asking for people's input on. The data files are massive, so we used AI to help compilate it all. So I guess the main thing that I want to try and get out of this is to give you the feedback that we received from the survey, number one. Number two is to kind of explain maybe the why. That was one of the things that I saw either on the Facebook or in the commentary of it is some of the why we're asking the questions behind the questions that we were asking. Namely, the intersection became probably the biggest of the conversation of why we're talking about the intersection when this is a bridge project. And understood, it's hard to translate all of that information out to people either in an open forum meeting like we had or over internet. So the why is, one, it's a road that hasn't been touched in 25 years. It needs work. Two, the design of the project or of that roadway intersection in its current state would not allow for good traffic flow. Several people have hit the Dankwart sign that's in the middle. There's been problems with speeding in the past, so it was time to look at it. And lastly, we are touching park property, and so in the 4F process and the NEPA documentation, the park property being touched is just as important as the National Historic Structure that the Cascade Bridge is. So that's the reason why the time was spent on asking people's opinions on what this intersection is as a concept, right? So upon the concept being decided that we select one of the three different options, we can then refine what the end result looks like. So there are a lot of pieces that were not discussed over the survey or in the public meeting. There's things like the Dankwart sign that's currently sitting in a grass area right now. We know that's going to have to move and be, preserved and put somewhere else. I think, personally, I've got some ideas where you could maneuver it, but we're just trying to ask concepts through this survey. And so that was also reflected later in some of the other pieces about the rail design, about the general aesthetics of it, but then also the reuse of some sort of the bridge pieces. So we can try and bring this into a more narrow focus. We have another public meeting in June scheduled where we can try and take some of this information and push it forward with more questions, I guess. The one thing that was pretty clear in the survey that I think maybe council could take some action on, kind of a preliminary design decision, was that on the intersection, the roundabout was the most supported, but also the most unsupported intersection out of all of them. So based on some of the support, I don't know what option it is. It's the JT intersection. I think it accomplishes what we're wanting, but again, I think council should have some skin in the game as far as approving that. Chad and I haven't discussed kind of the mechanics of how we want to, approve the pieces that are going to go into this. I don't want to wait until we get to a plans and specifications process and you all hate the designs that are being picked out by staff or consultants, so.
That's too late. Yeah.
Yep. So, the one thing that I will challenge McClure on and the architect that did all those drawings is to come up with some things that are different than just taking a piece of the old bridge and kind of erecting it in a fashion that, was shown in those drawings. Not that that isn't a viable option potentially, but that was the only thing that was explored, right? And so if we have our intersection kind of designed, have the architect show drawings of what that can or could look like. So,
Yeah, the one thing that I didn't weigh in on it very much because it was public input and I figured I'd have my chance. The one thing I'm concerned about is the tower structures, right? Because you're gonna have to put a fence around that thing. If we got in trouble for the cannon, we will have kids climbing that structure.
yeah.
And so I just don't see that, yeah, it might look cool, but unless you put some kind of fencing around it, how do you keep kids off there? And I'm
Yep.
thinking what I would have been like back in the day, when that drive was open and I was in and out of that park all the time. I know a few of my friends would have climbed to the top of it,
Yep.
so.
And
that's a
so,
concern.
so this is trying to maneuver through the
I know,
memorandum
the
of agreement
SHPO.
with SHPO
Yeah.
is interesting because you want to have these opinions or
Mm-hmm.
input pieces put into it, but are they necessary
Yeah, I
to
know.
get the MOA approved and signed? I don't think they are, but at the same time, if we want to preserve some of the bridge in some fashion, like what was shown, we better know now before the bridge is
Yeah.
demoed and you don't have any piece to try and preserve. So,
I agree.
it also helps us correlate it into a budgetary figure as far as what that costs, to try
Well,
and do
not
that.
just what it costs, but ongoing maintenance. I mean, if we have a metal bridge structure, we're gonna have the same kinds of issues that we had with metal
Yeah,
cannons.
but maybe not with that falling on somebody's head like the bridge now, but.
Yeah, so I guess I don't want to prolong the conversation too long, other than just give you the information of the survey results. If you want the raw data, I can give it to you.
No,
I'm not gonna go through all the raw data.
This is good.
Yeah, thank you for it, actually.
So just, I may reach out to and see if we want to set up a meeting prior to the next public input meeting to kind of tailor our focus, I guess. So
Okay,
Yeah,
that's,
great,
that's what I got.
good job, sir.
Good.
thank you.
Mr. Byrd?
That's fantastic information.
Yeah, it is.
I put some additional information on your desk regarding a F&M Bank Lunch and Learn with Chris Lee. He's a very engaging, dynamic speaker, so if you're so inclined, I would encourage you to attend that. Nick and I will be attending the Greater Burlington Chamber Washington DC trip on May 18 through 20, and so we will both miss the May 18 City Council meeting. We'll try to keep the schedule light for you, so. But that's our annual trip to DC to visit with our congressional delegation. So, working with the Chamber and the Government Affairs Committee on developing our Southeast Iowa packet of priorities, so looking forward to that trip. West Burlington Joint Council Meeting, May 14, at 6 PM. That's a Thursday. I'll get you some preliminary agenda information, but if you would, mark your calendars for May 14, if that works for you. 6 o'clock, it's West Burlington's turn to host. We will be at the SCC boardroom. Again, more details coming soon. So that's all I have.
Well, I appreciate you and Nick going to the DC trip. It just didn't work out well for me this time, but that is a crucial trip for advocacy for our area, so make us proud out there, will you?
We will.
Okay. Tim, do you have anything tonight?
No, sir.
Okay. Kay, you have anything tonight?
I said my piece.
She said her piece. Mayor Pro Tem.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
I don't either. The only thing I would say is a quick reminder, it's that time of year. Everybody is more active. Kids are walking home, they're biking home. We've had a couple of issues on a couple of our streets, and a lot of it's just people not paying attention, and the kids aren't paying attention. Unfortunately, motorists, it's up to us. You have to really drive with your head on a swivel right now. And all of you that are using alternative forms of transportation, i.e. anything from 1 to 2 wheels or more, you have to obey the same traffic laws as the four-wheelers. That means you gotta stop at stop signs, and you gotta follow the rules of law. And if you're on a bicycle, I just had one yesterday, a guy blew through an intersection downtown, he didn't even stop. You know, you're gonna get hurt, and more importantly, someone's gonna hurt you, and they're gonna feel worse that that happened. So please, parents, talk to your kids, remind them, look both ways, and talk to yourself in the mirror in the morning. Remind yourself to be more vigilant, please.
Sounds good.
Thanks. Good, good. I talk to myself every day. Everybody needs expert opinions.